Welcome to today's webinar on leveraging social learning through building talent communities. This webinar is sponsored by Technomedia, and we are excited to present this event in conjunction with our partner CrossKnowledge, featuring Christophe Barone, who is the Strategic Alliance Director for North America. Before we begin, please note there is a questions pod in your control panel. Please send your questions throughout the webcast, and we will be doing a Q&A session at the end of Christophe's presentation. We'll also try to take questions during his presentation as well as time permits. Attendees can request a copy of today's slides, and we'll be sharing that contact information with you at the end of the webinar. We'll also be hosting a recording of the webinar on our website at technomedia.com. Now a little information about Technomedia for those of you who are not familiar with our organization. We are a company solely and exclusively focused on talent management and have been for over 16 years. We offer a unified talent management suite that also has best-of-breed standalone solutions in talent acquisition, performance management, succession planning, compensation, as well as learning and development. We have over 400 clients in over 70 countries, and our solution is best suited for companies with employees of 3,000 employees or larger. Now a little bit about today's presenter, Christophe. Christophe is responsible for driving CrossKnowledge's growth in the U.S. and Canada. He has over 15 years of experience where he has held various management positions in sales and marketing across many industries, including telecommunications, web technology, and business intelligence sectors throughout the Americas, Europe, and the Caribbean. Christophe also holds a master's degree in marketing from Boston University. Christophe, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Shauna. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to present to you the partnership of Technomedia and CrossKnowledge, and also how we're going to leverage talent through social learning. Let me first start with a quick information on who is CrossKnowledge. We are a global leader in e-learning solutions for major corporations, and our vision is to massively improve people's lives all over the world through online education. And our mission is to help companies to transform through the transformation of their human capital. And we do this by delivering high quality and very effective knowledge and education. The partnership of Technomedia and CrossKnowledge is based on a long-lasting history of working together. Pretty much right from the start, CrossKnowledge has worked with Technomedia 13 years ago, and this partnership has been going on since then. Recently, Technomedia has integrated one of the CrossKnowledge solutions dedicated to social learning and to increase the offering of Technomedia's talent management solutions. The main benefits for this integration is to engage learners in a new way, to allow self-service content access to a large management, leadership, and soft skills library, to enable informal learning and coaching, collaborate, share, and discuss online within a learning platform. This solution has been also awarded recently by Brandon Hall and the training industry, as well as the Bursting by Deloitte organization. We are among the top 15 learning portals in the world and have been known for being very innovative. The point of this slide is to show that we are transversal in our project deliveries. We're not focusing on just one industry. We believe that learners' engagement and the training on management, leadership, and soft skills is a transversal activity. A good manager in the telecommunication industry could be as good in the finance industry. It's all about skills. The rest is about technical knowledge. CrossKnowledge from the beginning has been involved in creating content, e-learning content, and has associated themselves with thought leaders issued from those business schools that you see here in front of the screen. They are world-renowned business schools. Those professors and authors are very famous. They are writing books. They are the reference in each topic. They are the thought leaders in each of those themes. Just to highlight a few of them, on the top left you have Marc Bertonesch on value creation. He was voted the best finance professor by the Harvard students 3 years in a row. You also have Scott Snook on leadership right off the right from him, who was the head of the leadership department at Harvard, an Army veteran who has very inspirational videocasts with us also. On the right of him, you have also Manfred Ketz-de-Vries on change management, who's one named by the Economist and the Financial Times as the thought leader on leadership. If you go from the left 3 down, Robert Dills on vision, also a very known coach in the Silicon Valley area. He was actually part of the first settings of the vision of Apple and coach among Steve Jobs and many other executives in the Silicon Valley. This adds a lot of credibility to our library. All the content you would be looking at through CrossKnowledge is referring to all those authors. The library is localized in 16 languages, and it's composed of 5 different formats. The first format is the videocast. This is the way for us to feature the faculty members, the CrossKnowledge faculty members. They are 3 minutes, very inspirational and anecdotal videocast. We're not talking about theory, but we are very anecdotal. And they will share about some experience, some visions, and some concepts. The next format is the assessments. Our course is equipped with its own assessments, which are composed of sets of questions for pre-assessments and post-assessments. This is a great tool to track progress. And we know that in e-learning in general, there's a minimum of 40% increase of knowledge using these technologies. The core of the library is represented by the sessions. The CrossKnowledge sessions are courses that take about 30 minutes to go through, and they're truly dedicated to transfer a concept on a very specific topic. They are rich media, well animated. They include videocasts, quizzes, interactive screens, and voice. They are using an inductive style of learning which replicates the classroom training, which assess, trains, and practice. Attached to the sessions, you can also access essentials, which are summaries in a couple pages you can print of that course. It's a support document that can be used as a refresher. And then also an action tip, which will help you to put in practice what you just went through. And let's suppose you have taken a course on public speaking. You're going to be facing an event presenting to a few hundred people, and you want to prepare for this. This document will help you to first respond to the right questions, give you key reminders, but also expand your comfort zone. So those formats can be used as standalone or together and mixed in different ways. It all depends on the objectives we're trying to achieve through your training programs.
Christophe, just
so
a
let's
quick
move
note.
on. Sure.
We have a few folks that are having a bit of a time hearing you, so maybe if you can just speak up just a bit, that would be great.
Okay. This is better now? Can
Thank
you hear me better, Shauna? Okay. So let's move on to the talent community and how to leverage social learning. We've seen from our experience on the market that the echo is that sometimes a lot of people are skeptical about e-learning, and it could be based on experience, past experience, unfortunately. And we've heard that it could be too expensive, too complex, there's no proximity, there might not be enough relevancy. So throughout the year we've observed this, and we also realized that it's not just about delivering content off the shelf as is, but it's also about the way we're going to deliver it. And if you attach a perfect delivery mode with a good objective in line, with the right content, you're going to have a better engagement from the learners. So let's go and talk about the 70-20-10 model. And as a refresher, I don't know if everybody knows or is familiar with that concept, but just to summarize it, the 70-20-10 model, those are percentage, and the 70% represents acquisition of knowledge through experience, working on difficult jobs, on specific projects, and just going through your professional life. The 20% is learning through others. So it could be interaction with your colleagues, discussions around the coffee machine, your boss, some mentors that are following you through your career. And those 70 and 20 are represent 90% of knowledge acquisition and learning experience that are informal. No structure whatsoever. And the rest is 10%, and it's companies like us, CrossKnowledge or Technomedia, for learning, which implies very linear programs, specific structured learning programs that are delivered in many different ways. That could be classroom training or e-learning courses. So the informal acquisition of knowledge comes from many ways. It could be on request. So you need on-the-spot response to an issue you're facing. You would go on Google and ask the question, and something could come up. It could be any kind of content. You do this every day. It's unplanned. So it's not scheduled, and you need to respond to something very quickly. And again, there's no structure. All those activities depend on certain projects that you have in your company. It depends on certain change that your company is going through. And what happens is you have communities that will be created informally. So when you look at the company organigram today, you have the CEO, you have the senior VPs, and down the ladder, down to the employees. So, and those could be representing communities, but kind of formal. What happens today in companies is that you have a natural organization going on where you have a set of natural communities formed through that are triggered by projects for the deployment of an SAP ERP system. And all the project managers who are involved in this project will belong to a community. It could be also regional community for just the Canadian, French, Canadian community members who can access French content and French resources. It could be also gender-based. So today's technology does not enable the response to the natural way of communities being created in companies. On top of that, you are accessing different formats to get your knowledge from. The challenge with this is that it could be not especially accurate, it could not be relevant sometimes, and it could not be sometimes be consistent with your company rules. So you can go on many websites. Even some companies have blocked, social networks for that reason. But it's many ways that learners can access those resources. So the problem with those resources is that there's no consistent design. It's not dedicated especially to learning, so you can't really control it. You can't measure who's doing what has been acquired in terms of experience and skills. You don't know how much time someone spent on a specific course, and you don't know the results and the impact on the bottom line and based on the skills acquired, if this has been increasing efficiency and productivity for this team or for the members of that team. Here's an example of some of those big names in the social media. And it's, again, another proof of informally acquiring knowledge. So the solution for responding to the 70-20-10, the informal learning, is to be able to find create a platform dedicated to learning that will turn those informal learning benefits into true learning objectives. And will bring the informal learning together, part of the program, an objective set up by the company. And how we're going to do this is through an impact with a consistent design, control. So we're going to be able to drive certain topics. We're going to measure attendancy, we're going to measure engagement, and we're going to also measure success, because all this will be connected, in this case, to Technomedia talent management system with tracking and business intelligence behind it. So let's go and slice down each of those percentage and see how today we are responding to each formal and informal learning. First, the 10%, it's very structured. Usually we talk about learning paths based on very specific competencies that are pushed by HR stakes and driven by business stakes. It could be a global company that's going global, a company that's going through major changes by acquisition, or certain competency we wanted to develop for new managers. So in this case, we will be coming into an environment that's dedicated for each learner that we call learner-centric. In this case, on the left, you'll see the profile portal dedicated for an employee with very specific learning path. And on the right, you'll have another portal that looks similar, but with different resources dedicated to a manager. In this case, we could include communities, and I'm going to explain this a little later. So this is the 10%, very formal. The 20%, and this is where it gets interesting, is how can we use the dynamic of informally learning and try to acquire it through a platform that can respond to all that those reflex we will have on the web. So we're going to, and that's what we have integrated with Technomedia. We have a community here in front of you that looks like a bit like a YouTube, but in this case it's dedicated for learning. This is a community dedicated to managing in turbulent times, for instance, where all the managers will join because the company is going through some crisis. We'll put forward certain selections of the week. It could be videos, it could be a course itself, it could be a message from the CEO. And each of the members of that community could actually contribute content. Let's go a little deeper on each of those activities that can be done through the community. When you go down to the learning object, you are able to see first, what is the course about. You can also check the biography of the author. You can give your opinion on this content and vote, by 5, 6 stars. You can also comment and open a discussion on this course. So let's suppose you took a course here on company vision. What is a vision? And then the marketing director will be able to complement this course and grow the library behind the scene with the vision of your company itself and start opening discussions about it. You can also create your playlist like you would do on iTunes. With your iPhone, you can select a specific playlist. You can do this actually with courses today on the community. This is a great feature also where you can share this with your colleague. And this is where the informal start the informal learning and exchange starts happening. You are part of a team, and there's some events that will need everybody to be in line with a certain competency. You can start sharing a very specific course with the rest of the team. This is how it would look like. Each members of the community belong to a database. You can just type the beginning of that email and it will come up. You can create a little message, personalized, and the title of the course, and then send, and then that message will go to the inbox of that person, and there will be a link directly to that course with no need to log in. There's visual search capabilities also, where based on the most requested competencies or topic, you'll see the name, the words, the title of each of them getting bigger and bigger. The least requested are thinner and smaller words. So what it does is highlight the most requested topics. What's interesting about this as an HR executive is that if you start saying, for instance, stress management, going bigger, you realize that your team might need some stress management course that you might not be deploying. Another aspect of informally and collaborating into this platform is to opening general discussions. So let's suppose you have a group of new managers coming on board, and as part of their first onboarding as new manager, they will attend a face-to-face training event that could be lasting for a week, and they are organized in cohorts of 20 or so people. Each cohort is animated by a coach that belongs to the company with very strict guidelines on what we expect from them and how we're going to train them and what is the program they're going to go through. So they will attend the formal training that will include face-to-face training. They will attend also some reinforcement on e-learning, but also the coach, after that face-to-face training session, will be able to keep in touch with each of those participants of that cohort and follow programs that could last, a couple of weeks to 6 weeks, for instance, and engage in discussions, propose some assignments. Each members could upload the assignments into this portal, and each of the members could also comment on each other's assignments. So this is where the informal learning is happening in social learning. So we talked about the 10%. We talked about the 20%. So what about the 70%? There's no magic bullet on responding to the 70%. What the 70% does is to actually put together the right information, the right solution, and the right implementation. In other words, it includes everything that can exist in e-learning, and what's very important is to set the right objectives for your programs, and those are long-term objectives, to acquire the right information and be able to have this information shareable and in a very collaborative way. So that's one. The second one is to have the right platform and the settings in the company. The culture of the company has to enable this by having a good sponsor that could be a senior VP or even the CEO of the company. And when you put all those recipes together, when you start to implement all this, the dynamic happens, and then you can start benefiting from the 20% and the 70% and turn all this in the true learning objectives. For the implementation part, what's important to know is to keep in touch with the learners. What we've seen, we have seen in the past is that a lot of companies have acquired content. They pay a lot of money on a yearly basis, And they realized that at the end of the year, only 30% of the staff has checked some content, maybe not even go through a whole course, and maybe 10% has gone through a whole course. So it's a lot of money spent for maybe a 15% return. So what we have put in place within those communities also is to engage learners through a learner relationship management system that notifies learners on, maybe it's time to connect, or here's your new topic, but also to send specific content directly in the inbox based on certain corporate events. And I'm going to go through some examples later in this presentation on how this is done. Is there any questions so far?
We have a few. We have one that wants to talk about, in your opinion, what is the best size company to leverage a talent community? And can you have more than one talent community, or is it one community with multiple channels of interest?
Okay. In terms of size, I mean, we could have a small and medium-sized business to have its own community dedicated to soft skills development. So there's no really limitation in size, small or big. In terms of the amount of communities, you can have as many communities as you want. The beauty of this is that what you realize is that, I was talking about the organigram of a company, and then the natural organigram of a company where you can see all those communities being created. Well, you can have a community for each of those. And in large corporations, you can have 20, 30, 50 communities. And they're growing as they are being used through the collaboration and the contribution of each learner that adds content and that are relevant and that could be attached to certain programs.
Thank you.
Okay. What, another question?
Nope, not at the moment.
No? Okay, good. So here are some examples, for instance, on a community that was deployed with BPI. BPI is a company dedicated to the commercialization, the selling and producing perfumes for luxury brands like Jean-Paul Gaultier's and Yaki. And they have contracts with each of those brands that will expire in a couple of years at the time we did this project. So they were under a lot of pressure to, in case they don't renew those contracts, to come up with ideas and kind of maybe reinventing the business or finding new ways to make money. This is a company that makes about $1 billion in sales. And so they created a community based only on videocasts, very inspirational from our library. So every day, each manager in the company will get the first thing in the mailbox, the thought of the day. And the thought of the day will highlight a videocast that you can access from your iPhone or a tablet. And it's a 3-minute video, very inspirational. And on the side, they create a think tank to contribute ideas. And they gathered all those ideas and started selecting them to create new business lines. And at the end, they were able to increase their revenues because most of the contract has been renewed, and it generates a very cool dynamic within the company about innovation. Another example of a community, this one is a campaign attached to a diversity inclusion initiative toward women and leadership. So in this case, for instance, you're going to have leaders belonging to this community that are able to bring on future leaders and kind of play a mentor role through the community. They can also share. For instance, we, I don't know if you know the Davos event for all the CEOs and from major corporations that are coming to Davos to discuss, visions, very conceptual ideas. they realized that there was not enough women participating to this. So another event has been created called the Women's Forum. And the Women's Forum happens every year in Deauville in France, and it's a worldwide renowned event where very large companies and many companies are sending delegates to it. And a lot of presentations are done there and videos are taken, and those could be included into this community. So each company could have that kind of community and inform through the inclusion of URL linked to YouTube, but also PowerPoint presentation, PDFs. We could highlight certain success. We could have also open discussions on what has made it happen to get where you are, and you can do a lot of exchange that way.
Christophe, we have a quick question. Can you have your own content inside the community, or does it need to be completely cross-knowledge-based content?
No, you can have other content. This is the beauty of things. This is something that can grow. You can put your own content that you might have built. It could be custom courses. It could be you can have a community dedicated to developers with IT content. And then everybody could also start sharing experience. And so that library, when you're going to search for content, will take into account the keyword, and the result of the search will bring not only the off-the-shelf content, but also content that you've added on. Okay.
And then we have had one come in from Janet as well, asking about, can a community freely share and retain and manage knowledge? I'm not sure if she's referring to the moderation responsibilities of a community, but can you answer a bit about that, please?
Yeah, there's, I mean, it's a good question. First, you can obviously track what everyone is doing. And you can go down to the individual level or to the learning object level. It can go very granular. But retaining information, yes, you're actually growing a database behind the scenes and have all that content organized. If you look here, for instance, so you can search by keywords, but you can also organize themes in a more structured way. So all this content is going to be stored somewhere, and it could be on your server, on Technomedia server, and you can always access it. So I hope I responded to the question. But in relation to discussions, the discussions could be activated, or we could just deactivate it. And if you're concerned about abuses, it could be moderated.
Thank you.
Okay. So another example here is what we call the My Management TV. This goes back to the example with BPI, with that company who was distributing luxury perfume. This is a community with just videocasts, and that's why we call it My Management TV, related to management. So everybody can be notified on maybe a weekly basis with new videos and look at them, and it works also on tablet and iPhones. And the company can also highlight certain topics right here or in the bottom here based on current events. Let's suppose you go to end-of-year review and you want to push certain content dedicated to this at this moment, you can just do that. An interesting part about that's true about the videos, it usually sticks. It gets to more of a storytelling mode. Sometimes you get proximity with it, like watching a movie, and the retention is sometimes much better. And when you look at the new generation coming on board and the way you're going to have to train those folks, it's going to be more challenging because you have attention span that's completely different from other generations. relearning in a different way, which could be doing other things like multitasking. And so we see now the next generation content to be much more video-based and storytelling.
Christophe, we had a question come in around video, actually. Can anyone have access to post video, or is that limited to certain users?
It's up to you to decide. You can either take a portion of the videos from the library on a specific topic and push them to certain profiles, or you can have all free access to all the library for everyone. It can be adjusted as needed.
Thank you.
Okay. Another community. This one is very interesting. It might be from a European culture, but this one is a summer campus where usually, July, August, it's a little quieter in the office. So it's sometimes time to kind of do some refreshing of certain competencies, certain skills. So you could open a campus with free access to many resources and allow employees to access it during those 2 months. And you can also have a whole program animating through emails on what they should be looking at through email. And then when they go there, it has more of a summer feel. It kind of, when the downtime comes in July, August, it can actually be productive and look at some courses. Okay. So for instance, here you have an example of an email that can be sent. It could be customized to your company graphic chart. You can have an introduction here with a quick link from the email to a video, or you can look at what you've missed in the past couple of weeks and launch it right from there with a quick summary on each of those courses. So another question we've had a lot is the return on investment, based first on e-learning, but also what about the 70-20-10? How can we evaluate the return on investment? Based on millions of users we've reached for the past years, we've through all the business intelligence functionality we have, we can say that obviously speed is of the essence. So if you have a program to deploy and there's a major change in your company, and you go through traditional training, you're going to have a lot of people to train with very little time. If you are a decentralized and global organization, it might take 3 years, and by then the strategy will have changed, and you'll be lagging time, and you might not reach your objective. So when you reinforce your programs with a blended approach with e-learning and communities and all the collaborative functionalities, you'll be able to achieve your objectives 5 to 30 times faster. On another side, you can also access many more employees and not just keep it to the top of the ladder or certain elite, high potential, or just managers. It's accessible anywhere, anytime, and again, it will respond faster and better access to those HR stakes you're trying to achieve. In terms of budget, again, if you go through a traditional only training program, you have to count people being away from their job, traveling, and also it's classroom training. It could take a little longer. So those courses are very, very expensive. They're very efficient, and again, we're not trying to prone for 100% e-learning. We're not, sponsoring this approach. We are actually, in favor of a blended approach that mixes traditional classroom training with e-learning. And when you do this, you're able to save, a good amount of money. That could be, when you look at training one person a certain amount of time, it could cost you 3 to 30 times less than in a traditional format. We also have now a tendency to be more sensitive to going green. We're talking a lot about digitalization of your documents and courses. So e-learning is also a response to this. And on top of that, you're going to travel less. And another important aspect is that you're going to also respect your the consistency globally of your company in terms of message, look and feel. With the CrossKnowledge faculty, you're going to have high-quality content with reference to major business schools. We're trying to also always replicate the inductive part of training that is existing in classroom training. With our videos and the way we mix formats, we try to also trigger the desire to learn and the love for it. And I said that earlier also, is that when you go through this kind of new technology, learning technology, we can track an increase of minimum 40% of increase of knowledge. You can track, you can pull reports, and you actually can justify and be accountable for the success of your program. Thank you very much for your time. Shauna?
We do have one quick question
Sure.
around kind of the ending components of your ROI. What do you recommend as a first step in the process to get leadership to see value of building a talent community inside your company?
The first step is to always identify what the objectives we're trying to achieve and what you've done in the past that worked and didn't work, and then go from there.
Thank you. So as Christophe mentioned, thank you very much for attending our webinar today. Courtesy, actually, of CrossKnowledge, they are going to be offering our attendees for this webinar a free trial, 30-day trial, of their Mind Management TV channel. We can definitely get you signed up for that. So if you'd like to reach out to myself, my contact information is there, Shauna Berthold at technomedia.com. Or if you'd like a copy of today's presentation slides, either one of those things. Additionally, CrossKnowledge does have a partnered white paper around a very similar topic, the company as community. So if you'd like to get a copy of that as well, please feel free to reach out. And again, we do offer a lot of valuable information around talent management in our resource center at technomedia.com. You can download white papers and case studies and articles there as well. So again, if you'd like to get access to that free trial or any of the white papers we've talked about today, please feel free to reach out to me. And once again, thank you very much for attending today's webinar. We look forward to having you join us in the future. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Take
care. Thank you. Bye-bye.